22, 23 years of age, a lot of similarities. And Alex Swallow, when you look at the tail of the tape, does anything in particular jump out at you?
Well, at 138 pounds, John Meekins is the lightest he has been in 5 years, since 1984. As you see John there coming into the ring. That could mean a couple of things. One, it could mean that he lost the weight through increased conditioning, being a peak of condition, or that he has burned it off his nervous energy with the pressure of his biggest fight of his career. And I think we will not have to wait too long to find out the answer to that question, Dan.
Well, one thing about the two fighters, they have extremely intelligent corners, and we had a chance to visit with both of their camps, rather, and get some strategy.
Meldrick must be at his best defensively, because I don't underrate Meekins' punching power. He's a good puncher, and he throws those textbook combinations. For the first 4 rounds, I want Meldrick to move a lot, keep Meekins off balance, and be in a position still where he can punch from angles. I think that's going to be the key.
I want to see John in the first round walk right to tail and jump right on him. Take all the heart. I want John to dictate the fight. I don't want Taylor to dictate the fight. If Taylor dictates the fight, we lose the fight. If John dictates the fight, we win the fight.
Meldrick has got to use his jab effectively. He's got to keep going up and down. He's not going to back up. He's not going to run from Meekins. He's just going to put him in a zone where he can start hitting him from angles. And once he starts getting that kind of a rhythm going against Meekins, then I think he can get his combinations off better.
For the first 3 or 4 rounds, I want to see John stay to the body. And after that, I want to see him switch up. Once Taylor started getting hit a couple shots with left hooks to the body by John Meekins, his hand speed won't be there anymore.
There is junior welterweight champion Meldrick Taylor making his way into the ring. So the start of this fight is right around the corner. We'll return to Atlantic City in just a moment.
I'd rather switch than itch. So I switched to
junior welterweight title fight. Here is the champion, Meldrick Taylor, undefeated. Only 1 draw mars his record, that a draw a couple of years ago to Howard Davis. And the challenger today, John Wesley Meekins, the #3 ranked IBF world contender, and he sports a very impressive 21-2. The IBF rules will be in effect today. The scoring is on a 10-point must system, no 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8 count, and a fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round.
Dan, for those people not familiar with the 10-point must system, it simply means that you must score 10 points for the winner of a round. If you feel a round is even, make it 10-10. If it's a close round, score it 10-9 for the winner. If it is a dominant round, usually involving a knockdown, score it 10-8. And increasingly in recent years, there have been a tendency to score by wider margins. If it is a very, very one-sided round, usually 2 or more knockdowns involved, score at 10-7. A 10-7 round is very rare.
Our referee today is Steve Smoger, who, interestingly enough, is a chief prosecuting attorney here in the city of Atlantic City, so we shouldn't have any disputes. And our judges for the day, we have Richard Murray, John Stewart, and Phil Newman, the 3 judges who will score again. The referee does not score, and there's the bell, and round 1 underway. Meldrick Taylor in the black trunks, John Meekins in the beige.
We heard John Meekins' trainer, Jimmy Glenn, saying he wanted to have John jump right on Meldrick Taylor. I think that's wishful thinking. John is generally a slow starter, likes to feel his man out.
You got the feeling from talking to both of these fellas yesterday that neither one of them wanted to get in each other's face. Meldrick Taylor a little taken back by the way that he was come after in the opening round by Buddy McGirt. He thought that McGirt really, Alex, didn't show him any respect.
And he fired back in that first round, lost the first round, but I thought it was really one of the only rounds he lost in that fight. A tremendously impressive performance against Buddy McGirt.
The first thing that becomes apparent when you watch Meldrick Taylor fight is his awesome hand speed.
John Meekins has good hand speed, too. I don't think it matches Meldrick Taylor's, but he has, instead of the extra speed that Meldrick has, John has a little bit extra power. Power is only good if you can land it, and that's going to be John Meekins' big challenge.
Oh, and a left from Meldrick Taylor clearly lands on the chin of John Meekins. Didn't appear to do a great deal of damage, but definitely scored.
One thing we should point out, John Meekins has a history of having a questionable chin, has been down only twice. There's a left hook, and Meekins did not react well.
ABC's Wide World of Sports will continue after this word from your local station. At the end of this round, we're going to have a station break. So stay with us, but local affiliates, you'll get a station break at the end of this round.
There was John Meekins shooting his jab. Meldrick Taylor told us yesterday, Dan, after the weigh-in, that he feels that the jab is going to be a very, very important thing. He wants to block and slip Meekins' jab and land his. And he feels if he can do that, then he can dictate this fight.
Both fighters fighting conventionally in the right-handed stance. And Meldrick Taylor scoring early, going to the body. Again, working inside and low.
And nothing coming back from Meekins.
Meekins looking tentative in the way he approaches Meldrick Taylor. Not being aggressive at all here in round number 1. I think back to what his trainer said, that if Meldrick Taylor dictates the pace of this fight, we're in trouble. And so far, Alex, you'd have to say Taylor has been dictating the pace.
Absolutely, but this is still a first round, and it could be just a feeling. John just wants to get the feel of what a world championship fight feels like.
ABC's Wide World of Sports will continue after this word from your local station. Second round just underway here in Atlantic City. Dan Deerdorf and Alex Wallow alongside, and Meldrick Taylor, by our scorecards here, won the first round. And John Meekins still not able to solve Meldrick Taylor, looking tentative.
It does look tight, and he came out after the bell for round 2 and tried to land some jabs, and that's the best way to get him in the flow of the fight.
Try a combination there from Meekins.
Let everything flow off of the jab. Land with the jab and then let his hands go.
Good effective combination to the body that time by Meldrick Taylor.
Then he tried to come up top with the opening created by that body work. That's intelligent fighting, and Meldrick Taylor is increasingly capable of thinking in the ring.
You and I were discussing the potential for tightness in John Meekins. We thought you detected some of that yesterday.
Well, as I said at the top of the show after the tail of tape, Dan, I thought that weight was a sign that he might be very, very nervous coming up to this opportunity. It is the land of the unknown, a class of fighter he's never faced before, and it's just interesting to see how fighters react when they step up in class.
Meldrick Taylor stabbing with the left jab and then coming back to the body, coming back to the ribs with the right, and every time he's used that combination, he's scored with.
Right now, John Meekins faces a faster-handed fighter than he's ever faced in his career. He did spar with Meldrick Taylor, in fact, when they both were trying out for the Olympic team in 1984, a couple of rounds. But Meldrick Taylor right now is as quick as anybody in the sport, I believe, and John Meekins has to make the proper adjustment. While he's making those adjustments, Meldrick Taylor is scoring a lot of points.
Good solid right from Taylor. And Meldrick Taylor effective, working low and then coming back up top.
And Meldrick Taylor just got cut. He's cut over his left eye. I don't know if it was when the heads went down, and he just hurt Meekins a little bit with the power in his left hook to the body, and another one.
But you're right, over the left eye of Meldrick Taylor has opened a pretty good-sized cut, and it's actually bleeding down into his eyes.
And it's given Meldrick a little bit of desperation. This is very early in the fight. Do not forget that Meldrick Taylor cut himself very badly in the final round of the McGirt fight, his last fight. But that was the other eye. That was the right eye. This is a brand new cut. It has not charged up John Meekins. You would expect it would inspire John Meekins to go after him. But instead, it inspired Meldrick Taylor, and Meekins has remained tentative since the cut.
Round 2 comes to a close. They'll be busy in Meldrick Taylor's corner. Stay with us. We'll be back. That's Meldrick Taylor being attended to in his corner. The cut visible over his left eye. This is the beginning of round number 3. And Alex, it was a butt, we've confirmed, that caused the cut.
At the end of the round, referee Steve Smoger went over to Larry Hazard at ringside and said it was an unintentional butt. What that means is that if on an accidental foul that causes a cut, if the fight does not go 6 rounds, it will be a no decision. If it goes past 6 rounds, the fighter who is ahead on points will be declared the winner.
And that's if the fight has to be stopped because of the cut itself.
That's correct. But if John Meekins starts to land some of those right hands, gets on track here, which he's not done yet, but if he does, that could become a very bad cut indeed. It's in a bad place.
Well, you can tell that Meekins is attempting to pinpoint his jab, trying to find the cut, and there's that right you were talking about. John Meekins with only the 1 loss on his record, certainly no fool in the ring, going right after the cut on Meldrick Taylor, and scores there with a right. Clearly, after the cut, it sparked Meldrick Taylor. I guess we'll have to keep an eye on him, Alex, and see if somehow the cut bothers him. It's not in a good spot. It's in a position where it can easily bleed right down into the eye and impair his vision.
And you might notice that John Meekins has made a very subtle body turn. He's a little bit more sideways to Meldrick Taylor right now. He just shook his head. He just missed two hard punches. Didn't appear to be too fazed by it, but he's turned his body a little bit more sideways, trying to load up that right hand to drill that eye.
Certainly. Go ahead, Alex.
Doing a smart thing there, starting off with the jab. He did not. And there, Meldrick complained again about intentional butting by John Meekins. The referee Smoja did not agree with Meldrick.
Clearly a much more aggressive John Meekins than we saw in either one of the first 2 rounds.
But still being very patient, I think controlled. He is throwing more punches, Dan, but he's not going wild.
This title fight is scheduled for 12 rounds. So certainly a long way to go.
We should point out also that John Meekins has a swelling under his right eye. Take a look if you can, the right eye of John Meekins. It's swelling. He's got a knot under there that could result in a closing later. Good body punching again by Meldrick Taylor.
And a solid right hand from Meldrick Taylor. And both fighters dispensing with a great deal of movement and slugging it out here in the closing seconds of round 3. The end of the 3rd round. We're going to schedule it for 12. We'll be right back. Action here in round 4. John Meekins, Meldrick Taylor for the IBF Junior Welterweight title. Title held by Meldrick Taylor in the black trunks. Good combination from Taylor. Sends Meekins backwards.
Ace Morata worked overtime in Meldrick Taylor's corner to close up that cut. Even the best cut man in the business can't keep a cut closed if the fighter doesn't cooperate. Meldrick has to make Meekins miss. He can't take too many heavy hands in that punch.
And a solid right from Taylor, who's scoring here early in the 4th round.
Meldrick has shown a real professional attitude. We talked about his poise at the top of the show. He has really kept his poise here with this cut and continued to dominate the fight as he did in the time in this fight before the cut. If you didn't know he was cut, Dan, I'm not sure you'd notice that much of a different style.
One of the things you and I talked about that we wanted to watch on Meldrick Taylor was how he finished his exchanges, and what a left hook. Staggers John Meekins, and you could see his legs flex, Alex, when that landed.
If you did it once, do it again, and Meldrick just landed another one and a jab behind it. John Meekins has to let his hands go more. He just has to get off better. He can't wait for Meldrick to initiate the action.
And another left scores, and Taylor finding effectiveness, working low to the body and then going up high.
Again, Meldrick, much the busier fighter. In order to be this busy, Meldrick Taylor has to be in tremendous condition. That cut is open again.
Cut is bleeding more now than it did any time in the 3rd round. But I guess the good news for Meldrick Taylor, Alex, is that it doesn't appear to be swelling a great deal.
That's right, and it just doesn't appear to be bothering him. Low right hand of the body by John Meekins there. These are good, hard exchanges here, Dan. Both men, right hand by Meekins. For the first time, he landed the right. Wasn't on the eye, was on the jaw, but a good, solid punch. And now Meekins is trying to back Taylor up, using his jab to come in.
We're going to stay between rounds. Take a look in the corner of Meldrick Taylor.
Another low right hand by Meekins.
The closing seconds of the 4th round, and these two are going at it. Meekins finishes the round by having Meldrick Taylor up on the ropes, and there's the bell. A good finish for John Meekins.
John Meekins landed a number of right hands low. Meldrick Taylor had landed some punches low himself in earlier rounds. And now John Meekins is cut on his right eye. We see Eddie Eliano, his cut man, go over, and there you see Eddie putting the gauze pads on John Meekins' right eye. His cut is in the corner of the eye.
Gotta turn that right hand loose.
Okay.
Gotta turn it loose. You gotta use that jab. Gotta shoot that right hand over here. You understand that?
Bring your head back, John.
Pull your head up.
Bring your head back, John.
Let's switch back to Meldrick Taylor's corner.
Sure. All right. Mel, fifth. You got to start punching, okay?
Okay.
Win these here rounds now, understand? Because that was an accident on the butt.
Okay.
Okay, baby? Throw the fast combinations.
He's cut up
Come
on
on.
both sides.
He's busted up.
Keep them hands loose.
The voice you hear talking to Meldrick Taylor, that of his manager, Lou Duva.
That cut on John Meekins' eye is a cut he first sustained in 1987 against a fighter named Howard Stewart. It's exactly in the same place on his right eye.
We're underway in the 5th round. We're scheduled for 12 here in Atlantic City.
It's become a battle of cutmen as well as a battle of fighters here.
Both men realizing a great deal at stake for Meldrick Taylor if he should win this fight. Looking down the road at the potential date with Julio Cesar Chavez, who almost certainly will move up from the lightweights. And for John Meekins, his first shot at a title. And he finds himself in the same position that Meldrick Taylor found himself in against Buddy McGirt back in September.
One thing that these cuts mean, Dan, is this. These fighters cannot wait into the late rounds, let the other fighter build up an early lead, as Meekins has let Meldrick do, because if this fight is stopped after 6 rounds because of the cuts, they will go to the scorecard.
Oh, and a solid right hand, and John Meekins is staggered. And Meldrick Taylor closing in. John Meekins not attempting to get himself off the ropes.
And Meldrick bobbed under those three punches. John tried to, there's the right hand off the ropes. But Meldrick got down low and under the Meekins responses.
And the punches of Meldrick Taylor, at least from our vantage point, appear to be landing with a lot more velocity, a lot more force behind them. But John Meekins survives, gets off the ropes.
Saw Meldrick throw an uppercut there as Meekins bent over. Meldrick threw the perfect punch, an uppercut. Now there's Meldrick bending over. Meekins has a beautiful uppercut, but he chose not to use it, or didn't think to use it.
With a couple solid left jabs by Meekins. Oh, and a good right by Meldrick Taylor.
There, Meldrick Taylor spun Meekins, something that his trainer, George Benton, tries to emphasizes with him. Turn him, turn him, turn him.
But something where added strength is required if you're going to fight with that sort of a tactic, and clearly Meldrick Taylor is stronger.
Well, I'm not sure he's a stronger puncher, Dan, but he's getting off his punches better here. He's landing them, which is the most important thing. I think Meekins has slightly superior power. He's just not landing enough.
Inside the final 10 seconds of the 5th round. This is all we asked for and more. We'll be back to Atlantic City in a moment. The 6th round underway. Both corners busy, Alex, with advice for their fighters.
John Meekins in his corner heard Jimmy Glenn just tell his man he's just got to put more punches together, and that there's really no mystery. It's been an easy fight to score thus far. If you forget about the cuts and just concentrate on punches landed, Meldrick Taylor has dominated some rounds, has won a few a little bit closer, but he has won in our scorecards every round.
Meldrick Taylor very impressive with his ability to throw combinations. Starting with the jab, then able to work low to the body, coming back up, back down. The bobbing and the weaving, just like that, staying low, confusing John Meekins.
And hurting him right there with a body punch. Not hurting him so much that he'd knock him down, but taking something out of him and making him back off.
Oh, and a solid right and a good counterpunch back from John Meekins. That left scored.
You saw Meldrick Taylor's jab. He just, as Meekins was trying to come in to follow up the punch he landed, he just had two lefts right in his face. On the inside here, John Meekins should be trying to step back a little bit and get a little room for that uppercut. He's just laying on Meldrick.
Instead, it was Taylor that backed out and opened up an exchange. Meldrick Taylor clearly just trying to size up Meekins, fighting like a fighter with a great deal of confidence. With the way he scored early, no wonder why he has that confidence.
See, that little jab there from Meekins made Meldrick mockingly shake a little bit, but that's the talent we were talking about at the top of the show about John Meekins. That's a hard, stinging jab. It's just a natural jab. It wasn't taught to John. He had that jab the day he walked in the gym.
Both fighters cut, although neither bleeding to any degree here in the 6th round. John Meekins' left jab is finding a home.
John Meekins has some kind of a mark. I don't know if it's a cut under his left eye or it's about to open up, but he's got, oh, now Meldrick Taylor's cut his mouth. I tell you, it's a real medical report show here. Meldrick's mouth is wide open. He's bleeding from his mouth.
A lot of cotton going to be put to use in each of these fighters' corners. We'll be back for the 7th round after this. Seventh round has started. 6th round completed. All in favor of Meldrick Taylor. It has been his fight thus far, Alex.
All in favor on our scorecards, Dan.
Right.
We're unanimous over here, even if the 3 judges aren't around the ring. We said in the 1st round that John Meekins was a slow starter. Ooh, tremendous 1-2 combination by Meldrick Taylor. There aren't many fighters in the world today who can land 2 punches that quick. We said at the top of the show that John Meekins is a slow starter. He could afford to do that against lesser opponents because he had the power to get him out of trouble. He can't do that against Meldrick Taylor. He has to get in this fight right now.
And right now, Meldrick Taylor, 10 or 15 punches in a row without any sort of a counter from John Meekins.
He's put John Meekins right in a shell. This is something that Mike Tyson does to his opponents in the heavyweight division with power. Right now, it's something that Meldrick Taylor can do in the lighter division, 140-pound division in this case, with speed and combinations. Meekins is just totally consumed with defense. He has no offense at all.
Meldrick Taylor displaying the patience that he talked to us yesterday about. He's very willing to let this go 12. He's not necessarily a fighter who looks for a knockout. And the way he's patiently working the body of John Meekins, an illustration of that.
And as John Meekins comes around here, take a look at his right eye. It is about to close. It has become a slit from that jab and the hooks of Meldrick Taylor. And John is about to lose vision on his right side.
We'd like to alert our local stations that at the conclusion of this round, we're going to be taking a station break. Even though Meldrick Taylor's in the corner, look at him spin Meekins around that time. Another illustration of him heeding his trainer's advice.
Now John Meekins is going to have to fight. Since he's losing his vision, he's going to have to fight in close. He's just going to have to put his head on Meldrick Taylor's shoulder or chest and let his hands go.
And the right eye of John Meekins, as Alex Wallow told you, really beginning to close.
Again, Taylor spinning out of the corner, then pushing his man with his right hand. Trying to punch from angles. Getting down low and making Meekins miss badly. Ooh.
John Meekins, Alex. I'm impressed by his toughness. He's been in trouble several times in this fight and hangs in there.
He's determined. He's just right now not skillful enough. He's learning a lot in there, but it's a horrible lesson to learn at a tremendous cost.
ABC's Wide World of Sports will continue after this word from your local station. Well, as you can tell by the confusion in the ring, in between rounds, the doctor came in, examined John Meekins, and decided that this fight could go no farther, Alex.
Technically, according to IBF rules, the doctor, in this case Frank Doggett, does not have the ability to stop the fight. But he walked out of the corner, walked right over to the commissioner, Larry Hazard, waved his arms, and the referee, Steve Smoger, technically chose to agree with his decision and stop the fight.
But the doctor, upon his examination, as you said, went right to Smoger and said, hey, I don't think this should go on, and Smoger agrees, and that's the end of it. After 7 rounds, John Wesley Meekins can't answer the bell for the 8th, and Meldrick Taylor successfully defends his junior welterweight title.
They're still trying to get some medication out of that cut to Meldrick Taylor. Let's give Meldrick credit. He was cut over his eye, cut later in his mouth, and he just never lost his poise. He kept that poise that showed us first in Los Angeles in 1984 at 17 years old. He has always risen to the occasion, and he did again here today. We've got the official scorecards, Dan, and let's just see. One judge, Richard Murray, gave the 3rd round to John Meekins and gave all the rest to Meldrick Taylor. Judge John Stewart had the 3rd round even and gave all the rest to Meldrick Taylor, and Judge Phil Newman also scored the round 3 for for John Meekins and all the rest for Meldrick Taylor.
Well, we'll be back here in Atlantic City for some interviews, and we are back in Atlantic City, and right now let's go up into the ring and get the decision. Here's ring announcer Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Steve Smoger, acting on the advice of Chief Ringside Physician Dr. Frank Doggett, stops this bout at the end of the 7th round. The winner by TKO, and still the undefeated junior welterweight champion of the world, Meldrick Taylor.
A hug from Lou Duva. Meldrick Taylor celebrates his title defense, and right now he's up in the ring with Alex Wallow. Alex, go ahead.
Meldrick, congratulations to you.
Thanks, Alex.
Lou, let us get in here with the camera right here. Thank you. You got cut very, very early. Did it bother you?
I felt something cold going down my head, but I didn't care. It wasn't nothing to stop me from defending my title. I thought it was sweat. I went back to the corner. He said it wasn't that bad, so I didn't worry about it. I knew that I was in control of the fight, so I didn't let it discourage me at all.
You're still young, Meldrick. You're still learning. Did you learn anything special in this fight?
Not really. You know, it was a tough fight. I'm not taking nothing away from John Meekins. He's a tough fighter. He's a strong puncher. Caught me some good shots, but I weathered the storm, and I just came right back. And it was a tough fight. It wasn't easy for me.
You said coming in you were going to use your jab and your movement to keep him off balance, and that really nullified his power.
Yes, it did. I figured if I establish my jab early, and give him different movements, and circle to the right with the jab, I can keep him off balance, and I can do a lot of counter punching, and it worked to my advantage.
We talked in the opening of the show, Meldrick, about the fact that you're maturing outside the ring, becoming a man with your responsibilities. And we were curious to see if that maturity came into the ring, that you had more power. You certainly busted him up all over. He was swelling under both eyes and cut over one. Do you feel that you're punching with more power right now?
People keep saying that I can't punch. And I'm starting to prove it time and time again that I got a good punch. If I didn't have a good punch, I would never stop McGirt. I would never stop Meekins. I bust them all up, so that tells you right there I must be hitting hard.
Meldrick, you won the Olympic title at 125 pounds. Now you're 140. How long are you going to be able to stay at 140 pounds, or will you move up to welterweight in the near future?
Well, I would like to campaign for another year, possibly fight Chavez somewhere down the line. Take a couple more.
You just said the magic word. The magic word for Meldrick Taylor is Julio Cesar Chavez, right now the WBA and WBC lightweight champion. That is the big money fight for you. When do you think you could fight? I'm going to get Lou Dubin because he's whispering in your ear.
Well,
what did he say?
I would like to pick my fight. I'd like to get a shot at the winners of Mancini and Comantre fight, and then move on to Chavez. I think both of them fights would be a lot of prestige for me, and they're supposed to be the best.